You don't have your hammer either. Anytime now.
I think I'll survive.
Sorry.
Good.
You're great.
All right, 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order, May 7th, 2025. Fundy Shores. Seeing that everyone is here, roll call. If anybody has declaration conflict of interest, now would be the time to declare. Seeing none. Addition, deletion, or approval of the agenda, if there's anything to add or delete.
There was additions
Mm.
added to the shared drive and separately itemized for council's consideration. This is next page.
And have that. So. Nothing else. Everybody is good for that. I would be
Yeah.
looking for a motion to accept.
To accept the addition to the agenda as submitted.
Okay, second it.
I'll second it.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Saulnier, questions? All those in favor? Contrary minded, seeing none, motion carried. Approval of the minutes, we will do the regular council meeting, May 7th, 2025, and committee of the whole, May 21st, 2025. Looking for a motion to accept both those.
I will accept them.
Councillor Thompson, seconded by
I'll second.
Councillor Bent. Questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Contrary minded, seeing none, motion carried. No presentations. Business arising from the minutes, old business, 7A is the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. Do you want me to read that out? Or did
Oh,
you
it's
like
just
to-
an information only. I was gonna issue a check for approximately 5 months, and should there be any shortfall, we'll just issue another one. To get us to the end of the year.
I do have a little question.
Sure.
We talked about last time that it would include like increase, but so if we're doing it for 5 months, do we anticipate an increase in that time frame?
Not in the 5 months. It's just, I wanted us to be able to get to the end of the budget year.
Okay.
That's why I picked the 5 months. Typically, it would have been for a whole year, but. The other thing is that I do need to contact the post office to make sure, because it's done by postal code, to make sure that we get the right postal codes for this area. So that's kind of the last 2 things to do, and then we're good to launch and mid-June, get people all registered and have hopefully the first book roll off the shelves for August.
And hopefully they aren't delivered through the post office.
They are delivered through the post office to homes. But if they do not get delivered through the postal system, say somebody's home address is incorrect, it comes directly to me, and then we can make the correction here.
I think you're thinking of a disruption.
Oh, disruption in service. Oh, no, they are put through the postal service.
Would they change that maybe if there's?
That's what part of the, that's where the savings are, or some of the savings, and I'm sorry that my phone is ringing in the background. Can you close the door? Just close the door, it's 6 o'clock, so.
Well, and I guess that's just something that, I mean, that's, it is what it is, it's,
2 books to read.
They'll get followed.
yeah, and there may not be.
There may not be a
Maybe
disruption,
short,
you never
yeah,
know.
it's up in the air, so. All right, anything further on that? 7B, Community Emergency Planning Bylaw, EMO. The bylaw was shared to our website and summary to move to the next part in the process. So we will be looking for a motion from council to move that forward. And
There is 2 motions.
2 of them.
For tonight, one is to provide the summary, and the second is to provide the third and final reading.
Look for one of those motions.
Be it resolved to provide the second reading of bylaw B-3-2025, a bylaw respecting community emergency planning for Fundy Shores by title Community Emerging Planning Bylaw for Fundy Shores, and by summary Yeah, I'd have to keep reading.
Did you want me to read it? Or it's part of the motion to have it all on.
Yeah, right up to D.
Okay, council for the rural community of Fundy Shores under the authority vested in it under the local governance act. And Emergency Management Act makes the following bylaw respected community emergency planning for the rural community. Title of the bylaw, Community Emergency Planning Bylaw for Fundy Shores. Standing Committee of Council, General. Ability to negotiate with other local government unit and or the province of New Brunswick as it relates to mutual aid, joint organizations, members, services, etc. Scaling up or down the size of the committee response, notification and convening of the committee, obligations of the committee and EMO direction.
Motion made by Deputy Mayor Sonne, I will need a second.
Second.
Second by Councillor Dealey. Questions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, seeing none, motion's carried. Do you need anything further on that?
Not on that motion, there's a second one listed though.
The motion two. is that
Motion
the one?
to, yeah.
I'll move for motion two. Do you want me to read it or? Okay. Be it resolved to provide third and final reading of bylaw B-3 2025, a bylaw respecting community emergency planning bylaw by title for the rural community of Fundy Shores and enacted community emergencies planning bylaw.
Moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded, Councillor Bent. Questions on the motion? All those in favor? Contrary minded, motion carried. Good.
Yes, 100%.
Seven C, Municipal Capital Borrowing Board update. All you want to?
As information only, just all paperwork and advertisements have been finalized, filed and accepted by the Capital Borrowing Board. Our hearing is June the 12th, of June the 9th. 12th, I think it's the 12th, I've never put that down.
It's been printed in the book.
It has been printed and it has been on our website as well. That was a new regulation that just came into effect, so I made sure we kind of followed both sides of the regulation while it was in the process. They did have a couple of additional questions, just in case the truck came in higher than what we were anticipating. And they were happy to see that we did have reserve funds set up for just such emergencies, so there was no additional questions after that.
Okay, anything else? Hearing none, other, nothing?
Nothing.
Department reports, government report, mayor's report. I've submitted my report online. So first, right off the get-go for that, I would like to thank Linda. For now, for those that don't know, I guess everything, when the agendas go out or the meetings go out for our regular meetings like tonight, everything's uploaded to the site. So the public gets what we get. So just, I guess, for further notice when you submit your reports or.
I did have to do a little redaction
Yeah,
on yours because you had names, but other than that, everything aside from closed session items are fully uploaded for public access, so there's.
Prior to the meeting, you mean?
Yes, yeah,
So they get to see all.
they get to see everything that can
Everything,
access.
yes, everything that's there. So in just saying that, and I probably will because, and I will leave it up for redaction.
Mhm, and that's fine.
Because I would sooner put my report as I put it, and if it needs to be redacted, then Linda, I'm sure will redact what needs to be. Just save from going back and forth with it, but I think this is a good thing. That's, I think, another step in transparency for us, so. So thank you for doing that. I know it's a little bit more added work and that's from going forward today or this meeting.
This meeting,
so-
yes, I'm not gonna.
So
go back.
everybody's
It would
not
be
gonna
too
go
much.
back in looking for those things. Just a couple quick notes on it, just quickly, that wasn't on this one. Today I had the opportunity to go to Fundy Shore School again. I think they're gonna be putting me in a class there. The Positivity Club, which is included in our packages, sent an invitation out for me to, and along with other community members, to attend a tea put on by the club. Very well done. It was a nice little, nice tea put on by the students of the club, and they did all of the work and the flowers and so great job again by Fundy Shore School. So, I did enjoy that and the donuts. Second, I want to just send a quick, and I'll try to be just quick on this, that as we know that this week was Mayor Henderson of St. Andrews, his last meeting. He's all done. So I just want to send a thank you out to Mayor Henderson, Deputy Mayor, who's now the acting mayor, Kate Akagi, and was also elected that night this week at their regular meeting was Steve Neal as Deputy Mayor. So I just, on behalf of Fundy Shores, to thank Mayor Henderson for his 9 years of work on council and as Deputy Mayor and as Mayor, and wish him all the best. Third thing I'm going to touch on that just went out today is the roads in Fundy Shores. Linda had the opportunity to go with DTI this last week to do a full audit, I guess I'll call it that, of all the roads in Fundy Shores. I would say there was a fair amount. It wasn't a significant list, but there was some work that needed to be done or should have been done.
I took all the complaints that we had received here and just followed up with them by going to various parts of the community. So that way they knew what we knew, where the complaint areas were.
Little Pearl.
Yeah, so there was quite a few on the list. The two major ones, I just wanted to speak quickly, just so everybody's up to speed on it. The two that we were told that won't be done this year is the Chance Harbor Bridge and the Route 790 where it floods, where we're having all the safety concerns. So those two were hauled off and we were originally told they would be done. So today we wrote a letter to Department of Transportation and to the Minister of Public Safety. It's already gone out via email, but will go out in the mail tomorrow morning. Outlining my frustrations with Department of Transportation, that I feel that these two, out of all the roads, these two need to be done and should be done. And although there's much more to do, I feel Fundy Shores has been neglected over the years, and this is now upon the minister, and I call for him to look at this seriously and withdraw the restrictions that was given to Department of Transportation, his department, and turn around and rethink, revisit, however you want to word it, but have the Chance Harbor Bridge done this year, and also the roadway that's flooding and creating some safety concerns for us. Chance Harbor Bridge is a huge safety concern. So for those that don't know, it's a 15-ton bridge. If you've been down to it, I think it probably would be less. I'm not an engineer. I don't tend to be one, but I was down this week. I took a lot of pictures. I was under the bridge as cars were going over it, and yeah, it's, again, not an engineer, don't claim to be, but when cars are going over the bridge and items are falling, you can see up through the bridge. I think there's some concerns there. And for me, we have a lot of big trucks in the area that need that bridge, that utilize it, and primarily our fire department. And to me, right at this point, I don't think one of our fire trucks, fully loaded, is overweight for it. So to me, the bridge needs to be done. So
And the reason they were dropped, were we informed on why they were dropped this year?
My understanding, it was because there was restrictions put on their capital budget. So they had to shuffle what work was done when.
So we just sent the letter out to the minister, so I will give him the time to reply or respond back, but again, it's been in our conversation since last year, so it's nothing that's been new. This one down here in the 790, the flooding, we were told last year that it was a project for this year, so for them to take them off because of budget restrictions or budget cuts, however you want to word it, to me is unacceptable. It's supposed to be done, it should be done, it needs to be done. That's. So we'll wait for his reply, but we are meeting with the premier this week, and I'm sure it will come up in the conversation as well. And that's it for my report. And I will move to councilors' reports. Deputy Mayor Sonley.
Yep, it's online and I really don't have anything else to add.
Okay. Councilor Beth.
Mine is online as well. I guess I would like to say that the visit to Fun Shore School was a lot of fun. Children's are always pretty engaging and I was at the council or the meeting last night for firefighters, mental health, but that'll show up on next month's.
Do you guys have anything for your committees you wanted to do now or wanted to?
Things are just basically proceeding for the festival.
Okay.
And Tina probably will give one detail.
I will forward you the committees that were voted on at the RSC. We do not have the full list, so I'll forward them. Maybe I already did. Oh, okay, I will.
I sent an email to my committee to giving them updates, but until we actually get something significant from maybe our needs assessment.
And I know Synergy is working on a draft. Like incentive package that we were discussing for commercial and residential development, so when that's ready, that'll come back to the committee.
Yeah.
All right, Councillor Deely.
The report was submitted online and, excuse me, I think there was 8 meetings attended on that report. And as for the Recreation Destination and Development Committee, like Heather said, we've been just moving along, trying to get the Funny Shores Festival wrapped up with our plans. And we're doing quite well. And by the end of June, we are hoping to have a flyer ready with help from staff. And the only other thing I have to add is bingo. Next bingo is coming up here on June 13th.
Friday the 13th.
We had an exciting bingo.
It's always exciting.
And the license is already done for the next cycle.
July, so it's the new.
July's new license. For both the bingo and the raffle stuff, so.
Okay. Great, is that?
Yeah. it's-
Okay. Councillor Thompson.
I submitted my Ward 3 report online. As well, I attended various webinars and meetings, which is on the line. And also I submitted my PrAC report, and there was an election for the PrAC committee again, and Sam Welch was re-elected as chair. And Vance Johnson was re-elected as well as vice chair.
What was Vance's last name?
Vance Johnson. Point of interest, we did a review on the rural plan for St. Stephen. Because they're doing upgrading their plan because they've changed their, like we did, boundaries. Anyway, they're looking at a potential project for an airport. Being used as a fueling site for the Blackhawks used on the border patrol, so. And they're doing a lot of housing and waterfront promotion and a lot of interesting stuff.
Well, I know they've been talking regionally about the airport for quite some time, but
Okay.
it's, I think with everything that's been going on with, I think Mayor McCaffrey's sitting on the board or committee now for all the border towns.
Okay.
Like, I think that's Yeah, the political state we're in right now, I think that's probably gonna spark some,
Action.
yeah. All right, that was your prop and that, anything else?
No.
Good, okay. All right, thank you. CAO report to council, May's report.
We just submitted online.
Online, got anything to add or no?
Not a thing.
I will look for a motion to accept the CAO report.
I'll make a motion to accept it as written.
I'll second.
Councillor Bent, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Question on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor, contrary minded, motion carried. Planning Director's report has been submitted online. Look for a motion to accept that report as submitted.
I'll make a motion to, accept the report as submitted.
Councillor Deely, seconded by Deputy Mayor Sonnier. Questions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, contrary minded, motion carried. Public Safety Fire Department, May's report was submitted. Any, looking for a motion to accept
Make a
that
motion
report.
to accept it as written.
Councillor Bent, seconded by
I'll second.
Councillor Thompson. Question on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor, contrary minded. Seeing none, motion carried. 7D, Economic Development Synergies Report from May has been submitted online. Look for a motion. Deputy Mayor Saulnier, seconded by
Okay.
Councillor Bent. Questions on the motion? All those in favor, contrary minded, seeing none, motion carries. Recreation, Community and Culture Community Coordinator Report. May's report has been submitted. Motion to move. Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Bent. All those in favor or questions on the motion? I get on a roll, I'm gonna just keep on trucking. Questions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Contrary minded, motion carried and did. No, that was the next one for Bobby, right? Standing committee reports. You guys all did them. Nothing to share on any of the committees. Number 9, correspondence received. Oh, this is the good one. I received a letter from the Canadian Association of Municipal Administrators. So I will, instead of going through that, I will read the letter in full. I will though. I received this from the Canadian Association of Municipal Administrators, dear Mayor Cogswell. The Long Service Recognition Awards Program of the Canadian Association of Municipal Administrators is dedicated to honoring and celebrating the dedication of our members to public service and municipal management, a cornerstone priority for our association. These awards are based on the duration of full-time paid employment in municipal government, specifically in management roles such as chief administrative officer or those reporting directly to them. Recognition is granted at the 10-year mark and subsequently in 5-year intervals. This year, it is our privilege to acknowledge the commitment of your Chief Administrative Officer, Linda Sullivan Brown, for her remarkable 20 years of service in municipal government management roles. Linda's dedication to her role has undoubtedly contributed to the advancement of your municipality, and we are pleased to recognize her achievements. Her recognition pin has been mailed to her directly. We invite you to assist us in recognizing Linda for this milestone, perhaps through a special presentation at City Council in acknowledgement of her continued support of the municipal profession. Closing, we wish to express our heartfelt appreciation to City Council for their unwavering support of Linda as a valued member of CAMA. And on that, I do have Linda's pin here just for show. She is, she's giving me an evil look and asked me not to pin it on her, so I won't.
You get down one knee. Get down one
She's
knee.
already a little furious with me for reading the letter, right?
Yeah.
I feel well deserved. So your association agrees with probably all of us around this table regionally. We appreciate what you do. And
I'm sorry.
no, you're not.
I am.
No, you're not. So we do appreciate what you do, and I say it time and time again, that we are lucky for the role that you're doing here, and yes, our municipality is definitely moving forward, and you're the biggest chunk of playing that role, so. Thank you. And for keeping me out of hot water at times.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Moving
I
along.
can't wait till the 25-year one. I'm coming back just for that. Sure, I'll be on a committee or something, I hope. Alright, second one was a little less, but it was just as important, the invitation to the Fundy Shores Elementary School. That I was invited to their Positivity Club tea, which again, I said earlier, I attended today. And there was a fair amount of people there, actually. It was a very job well done by the students. And the teacher.
You have the performance issue to see this one.
Yes. Correspondence issued, as I stated earlier, sent a letter to the Minister of Transportation. The 5-year capital plan changes. So the changes to the provincial 5-year capital plan have resulted to the Chance Harbor Bridge only being stabilized this year, with a replacement scheduled for 2026, and the flooding area officially recognized as being replaced in 2026. So again, stabilizing the bridge this year, moving everything into next year. Still unacceptable. So that was sent out. General government, number 8, approval of payments, addition to the payment schedule that was online. Right? Look for a motion to move that.
Make a motion. I'll make a motion to
Yep.
accept it as a report.
Seconded. Deputy Mayor Sonia, questions on the motion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm reminded. Seeing none. Okay, I'm just getting confused here because I'm going from this one to this one. Got 2 different ones here. What about this one and this one?
The next is this one.
So I'm just scrapping this one.
No, this one would slide in as number B,
Okay,
and then, yeah.
all right. Approval of accounts, expense report for May 28th, 2025. Looking for a motion.
Make a motion to approve the accounts.
I'll second.
Second by Councilor Beal, moved by Councilor Brent. Questions on the motion?
Explanation on community event this current time.
Does somebody have that? Is it just the expenses that are listed? I think community events. Let me just look at that real quickly. That's exactly what part of it is the bouncy castles,
Yeah.
and the other one is the boards for you. Yes, the sandwich boards and stuff.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. Any further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, seeing none, motion carried. This one,
Sorry. misnumbering.
So I'm on this.
And
first
then,
and then
in
this?
that, yes.
Okay. 12, new business, A. Committee resignation, recreation destination development. Due to health reasons, Brenda LeBlanc has had to resign from the committee, and we would be looking for a motion to move that, to accept it, I guess.
Make a motion to accept.
Oh. Second, okay. Councillor Dealey moved with the Thompson accepted. No, we were looking.
I wasn't, I was writing.
Questions on the motion? None, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, seeing none, motion carried. Number 10, 12. 12. New business. Seniors Companion Program, Community Coordinator Craft has provided documentation in relation to the Seniors Companion Program to pilot with council's approval this summer. Look for a motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
Councillor Dealey, seconded by Councillor Bent. Questions on the motion?
Yeah.
Is there a question?
So is there,
First question I have is, what's the qualifications for the person that's going to go in and say that they can take care of some, not take care of them health wise, but to visit and and that it's all right to go there, that the person is well enough and the situation in general, what are your qualifications to do that?
So what we're gonna be doing is working with the families, so often when older adults start deteriorating or get older, there's usually a family member that will step in to help support, so we'll be working with family members or the care providers. So we wouldn't be going into the home, like, for instance, if we know someone has dementia, we wouldn't be going into that home without the care provider, whomever it is, whether it's a hired agency or something. Our role is strictly as companions. We're not there to qualify or to decide if someone needs support or what have you. We're just there to offer a person as a friendly face to do cards or do a board game or even read to the individual so it's more of a companion as opposed to like, we're not assessing these individuals, we're not doing any of that.
Then why is the person leaving a notebook?
So we would be leaving a notebook just in the event that the individual that we're meeting with, they might forget, hey, I played cards with Bobby today, or I did this, so we're leaving a notebook so that we can help exercise the older adults' brain, like mind, if they're telling their family member what we did, and just as a reassurance to family members, because if the family member may not be, if the individual lives alone and is competent to live alone, we'd be just leaving that notebook as more of a reminder, and if a family member is going in and taking care or, you know, checking out the affairs of the home, they can say, okay, Bobby was here, she read to my older adult, or she did this. So it's more of a reassurance thing in case, you know, in case someone, it slips their memory or something. We just don't want family members to say, oh, someone came into the home, but what did they do? So it's more of a check, like a double check for someone who's viewing it to say, okay, she was here and did this.
Why are we as a municipality doing this instead of encouraging a nonprofit?
So we were looking at different programming opportunities, and we work well with kids, and it seemed like we were missing a cohort, and this is the cohort we were missing, and in the sense of offering something. And when I had been doing the markets, people were coming in saying, you know, we'd love to be able to attend more stuff, but, you know, my mom that I'm caring for doesn't want to come or things like that. And so it was a conversation with various people in the community that said, you know, if there was something that came to us, we would utilize that service. So it's more of a breaking barriers in the sense of not everybody has a vehicle or not everybody has a license to travel. And it's just so we can be inclusive of everybody in the community as opposed to only catering to certain cohorts.
So are you doing all the contact or students doing it as well?
So I did get some support through, oh my gosh. Why do I forget? Linda Rothershop.
Okay.
And she and also Deanna had recalled some people in the community that are isolated. So we gathered, there's a list of 30 names. Obviously, we're not gonna be able to get to all 30 or service all 30. But it's actually the approach for the students this summer. We're not doing a full-time day camp, so it was more or less to bring that intergenerational approach and to give the students an opportunity to do some day camp stuff, some intergenerational stuff, some tourism stuff, and also some, one of the days that they're gonna be working is more an entrepreneur, and they'll be creating an event. So the students will be coming and they'll be part of that. They'll be part of building the program. And what we're gonna be doing at the end is offering a memory book based on the stories that they tell us, if they allow us to take pictures, so that they can have that memory book for themselves and ultimately to leave to their family members, you know.
So is this a program that's just for the summer months, or is this a program year round?
We're gonna pilot it for the summer, so because for the summer, we're hiring 2 full-time students. So I would never be alone, the students would always be coming with me. And then once we pilot it and get our established group of people, then opening up to community members to support neighbors. So be neighbors supporting neighbors, and obviously they'd have to go through a process, they'd have to do their criminal record checks and their vulnerable sector checks, those things. So it's piloting right now to see if the interest is there, how the program will go, with, you know, the support of the students. I myself, am finishing up a degree in gerontology, which is the study of aging. So it's also within my, you know, qualifications, educationally, and, you know, it's an interest that I have, and, you know, something that we can add to.
This question, actually,
Yeah.
the students you're hiring, are they like gonna go into that kind of a field? Are they going into university students, or are they high school students, or?
So when we
Because
were,
sometimes if you wanna go into nursing, you
Yeah.
go to work in a nursing home. to
Yes.
See if you like it.
yeah,
That's
so
how-
we've actually been conducting interviews, so we did our last interview today. And when Linda and I were doing the interviews, we outlined what the summer program was gonna look like. And we outlined in the interview process, have you worked with older adults? Have you worked with kids? You know, have you done event planning? So we looked at the whole package. And the kids that we were interviewing, you know, grade 9, 10, 11, and 12, so not all of them had a direction, but this is where, when you're giving them exposure, maybe exposure they never had before, that's where they're gonna be able to create the interest. I never, you know, at one point, I never thought that, you know, seniors programs would be of interest, but it's when you start getting the knowledge and things like that. So you, at this point, they didn't know what direction, but with exposure, they may.
What about the permission to take photographs and possibly put them on the internet and so on?
So we did, so I'm not sure if you saw the whole package, so in the package, we made sure, I worked with another municipality who offers, they offer a similar program, where they would go out, it's in PEI, and then also with, some of these senior outreach programs. And they said it's a great offering, and like you mentioned, not all municipalities would have it, but this is such a, I think we were in a meeting recently and we learned that the services just aren't here in the community. So this brings that service for them to have companionship and things like that, so, we did put a checklist together, so in the sense of taking photos and stuff, we would be working with the individual for their permission, but also for permission if, you know, the individual's questionable, we are saying, you know, if you're a caregiver or, you know, whether it's an official or unofficial caregiver, we want you to sit in on these conversations. We're not just approaching vulnerable individuals.
Anything further?
I think it's valuable. I think that, there are a lot of people that sit home and don't have somebody to chat with and don't have somebody, just a friendly face. I know that, on the fire department, when, the power outages and things, we'll check in on some of our vulnerable people and they're just happy to hear your voice. You know, they say, no, my
They all
daughter
come.
looks in on me,
Mm.
but, thank you very much for checking in. It's nice to know somebody cares and so on.
Well, I think you answered my question. You said the pilot is just for the summer, right? It's, and then we'll come back to council and determine.
Reassess it.
Yeah. All right, any further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Contrary minded.
You have to do break the top there.
If I can add to my nay, I agree with I appreciate the work that's gone into the program. I like the idea of the program, I just don't feel that it should be administered by council. I would be in full support of supporting a separate group to do this, no problem with that at all. I just don't think it should be a Funday Shores municipal issue.
I can see that too, but maybe if we do the pilot project and then look into further another group taking it over, like see if it's feasible. I don't know.
I can see insurance issues coming down the road too.
So, so can I weigh in? So I am split on a couple things, so I hear the concerns of council, and I guess I would look to staff for some of those concerns, I guess, surrounding the legalities of it, because I guess my first concern or question was, as a pilot, I don't mind it if it's a pilot and we're gonna stick to a
So many individuals
constrained,
and
yeah,
so
a
much.
constrained item, because that's usually what pilots are for. We give it a try, if it don't work, or we can haul back, we can work with it a little bit, rather than saying, here it is, and you got 6 months or whatever to go. So I like the idea of it being a pilot and having to, I guess, council have some control over it in that aspect. So the legalities around it, are we covered in those of however the package and all the writing goes? Are the legalities covered to help alleviate some of council's concerns?
I just don't want to be wrong, but in my
No,
understanding
that's-
of the package and the way it's put together, our insurance covers programs that we put on. It would be, I would recommend a very limited scope of number of individuals, like maybe no more than 5 as a pilot, if that many, just to make sure, you know, try to. And this even sounds wrong in my head, but try not to. You know, you don't want to impose on the super vulnerable, like, let's maybe work with other,
Someone that's constricted to their home, but
but yes, because I just, I would wanna make sure we were covered around that, but as long as we have our checklist in place, which Bobby's demonstrated with the release forms and things like that, insurance would be okay with everything the way it is right now. But, we can go back and look at this again. I mean, we don't have to launch the program until council reviews it again in July if they wish. or if you wanted to see it roll, whatever, we can make those adjustments to the package and the timelines and the list of demands associated with it by limiting scope and things like that. If that's a very real concern of council, I don't mind sitting down with Bobby and going over everything like that.
So if we're going to do that, then we would need an amendment or something to the motion, because the motion's already on to accept it. And
If council wants to take that approach, I mean, I wouldn't put words in anybody's mouth, but if maybe there is a local organization that we can tap into and maybe partner with somebody, or maybe even, I don't know if extramural would be somebody that we could.
Well, the intent is not to be a caregiver in any way, shape or form, or a friendly face at hello.
It's like a social program.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
Yes.
And I guess if
we
we're-
really don't have groups to tap into.
I
Okay.
can see where.
Well, we
Your
do
concern
though,
is
we have a
that.
50+ club that may take on something like that, if somebody reached out to them. There might be, they do similar stuff to that now, and they may not say they would, because I haven't, had a conversation with any of them. But that might be something, a group that could be out there, like there could be a possibility of a group that would take the responsibility away from the municipalities.
Even in the school year, you might use the grade fivers, for instance, have some sort of program going through the school with Bobby's help.
Oh, almost like the roots of empathy with younger kids, maybe develop something, and that's a possibility too, and the council can just, however council decides to have this go.
It was a barrier thing, so when it was approached, when the individuals asked me about it, it was that they couldn't get their older adults to go out, and if we have to gear this around, scoping it to some individuals who are in their home and, simply just don't have family members around, that would be okay, but it would also be, it's to support caregivers as well. There was a few people that came into one of the markets at Christmas time and some vendors and, some vendors that at this most recent market had to cancel because they're being caregivers and their family members are unpredictable in the sense of, when they want to go out, and it's the caregiver may, be overloaded staying in the house all the time. It was just adding that friendly face and giving, even if it's just for 1 hour, that caregiver can have some reprieve and, maybe take a shower or stand in the kitchen and do the dishes, as opposed to constantly hearing the same stories over and over and having the same conversations, and it just puts variability in the day of individuals and the caregivers. In the sense of like asking about the legalities, and I think Linda, this is a social program. And it would be the same legalities of people dropping their kids off to us at the summer program essentially and leaving them here with us for the day, as opposed to us, approaching and supporting individuals. And I do agree that, maybe the 50+ Club can do this. And there was a conversation with Carol, and it was, we love the services that you offer because you're offering it to the community. And we offer our services to our members. So there was, it wasn't an intense conversation about the program. But there was conversation and it was like, they just didn't think the interest was there for their members to be
Because
facilitators.
their members are getting out already,
Yeah,
so we're looking to people that aren't getting out.
yeah.
So I can't make amendments or anything to motions, and there is a motion on the table. The only thing I can do is cast a vote. So I guess I'm looking for some form of direction from council, because the only recommendation that I would make is, I think, as we said, as long as we're covered within the legalities and we keep it. I say we, staff keeps it tight, and monitors it for the pilot and comes back to council with whatever the issues or concerns are. And that doesn't mean it has to be the 2 months and then we come back to council, if something arises in that meantime, it can be, staff can pull it or do whatever, I'm assuming.
Yes.
So it's not, yeah, I don't,
And I will just ask it, from that list that we had, and maybe you have reached out to individuals to see if there's actually an interest, like, and this isn't anything to put you on the spot. If you haven't, we can always bring this to ease council. If you want, we can reach out to some of those individuals listed. Not all of them, but reach out to some of them to see if they are interested in having somebody drop in. I mean, I'm sure we can, if the interest isn't there, or if the support of council isn't there for this program, I'm sure we can redirect efforts this summer with the kids that we have coming, that are being employed.
So why don't we table it until the next meeting and then you can reach out?
We can
to-
do that if council
So
likes.
I do have a list of people, that I did call and the interest is there. They'd be just waiting, for us to have conversations. So there was a structure to it. So Linda Robichaud was going to come out to the first meetings. So basically I'm just waiting for the go ahead. And then the individuals could be, the process could be started, but I mean, ultimately it's up to the people here, so.
So back to the original motion of taking our conversation tonight into account. The original motion set forth is to move it along into a pilot project and
As submitted.
as submitted. And take our recommendations or our council's recommendations into effect. I can't make amendments or anything to the motion, but if somebody wants to, whatever the consensus is of council, they can do that as long as they have the approval of the original motion. If not, then it is a tie and I will cast a vote. And that's where we're at. So if I see it as is and we're okay with that, with the conversations that we've had, then I will cast a vote. Are we good? Seeing nothing further, my vote will be a yay to move it. Considering the conversations that we've had tonight and letting staff. Linda to review it, and to note on that, we will be having additional staff. There's an ant. Great, we're live.
Let it go.
We will be having additional staff, we're hoping, in the coming month as well, probably less, but we will be doing the interviews coming up next week, so. All right, so I guess that's all been accepted, then we'll vote, it's 3-2. And that is it, I believe. Fine, correct.
Well, just
Well,
close
closed. All right, and then we'll be looking for a motion to move into closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Moved by Councillor Bent, seconded by Deputy Mayor Saunier. Questions? We'll wait for Bobby to.
Am I good to go?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I will end our